I'm Jerry Rickett, President and CEO of Kentucky Highlands.
I'm Brooklyn Hooker, the controller here at Kentucky Highlands.
The slide that you just saw is a picture of my hometown. That's downtown Corbin, Kentucky. Want to describe the nature of the communities and the industries that are in our part of the geography. Um, Kentucky Highlands was a Title VII CDC, started with OEO, and has been participating with programs that followed that program and that source of revenue to help low-income families. We cover 22 counties in southeastern Kentucky. We're part of the Appalachian Regional Commission counties. We're in the heart of the hardest hit counties, or the most uh, I guess devastated areas by poverty. And we've been working on this issue for many years. We've generated thousands of jobs. Uh, we've also been able to work with the CED program to help us really generate some employment that really helps low-income people get their first job or stay in the job and get on some kind of career path. So that's what the area we work in. Our geography is about our offices are in London, which is sort of in the center of our region. It's about 100 miles east, 100 miles west, and we're about in the middle of north to south. We're about 100 miles as well. A little over 560,000 people live in those counties. Of the 22 counties we serve, 20 of those are identified by uh, as CDFI as distressed counties. And most of our counties, all except three, are persistent poverty counties as well. So we have some families with really a lot of the needs that were identified across your target group. We check all those boxes, I believe. Maybe one or two we don't, but we're an area of great need, and we also think an area of great promise. Some of the distress things we face, out migration continues to be a problem with the demise of the coal industry, which was the high revenue importer of dollars into our region. That has been in steady decline over the last 50 years and has really accelerated the decline in the last decade. So a lot of folks have moved out. One of our counties, Bell County, Kentucky, lost 16% of their population, which was the most percentage of population that any county in Kentucky suffered in the 2010 to 2020 census. Industries in our area, uh, we have retail, we have some manufacturing, and Kentucky Highlands has invested in those. And we worked with the CED program many times with manufacturing companies in our area to help folks get a job and help that business either stabilize and expand. We have a lot of health issues in our area, which is devastating. We have high incidences of cancer, heart disease, diabetes, obesity. We're sort of really out beyond the curve with most communities of individuals that suffer from these ailments. We're our commitments and partnerships that we're involved with. Our commitment and from our founding was to provide to improve the quality of lives for low and income residents that live in our region. We've done that through community development, technical assistance, and lending to small business and partnering. We've partnered with a whole host of like-minded nonprofits, for-profits, uh, local governments, and public agencies. Uh, we're we're regulated by a board of directors of residents that keep us focused on that mission. And the CED program is the best program we have worked with throughout our history that accomplishes our major goal of helping low-income families enhance their income, plus as well as have a path to a higher income. The economic development challenges, workforce, we have a very low educational attainment level compared to the rest of the country and our part of the service area, or most parts of our service area. The job participation rate is low. In the state of Kentucky, we have a job participation rate, 62% of the folks have jobs that are in that age group. In Kentucky, that was in the US, in the state of Kentucky, 57%. And in our service area, only 45% of the eligible residents are employed. That is one of the main reasons I feel that we're still poor, since we have such low individual incomes, and that the population in that area, I think, is our best potential customer for the services that we use to help these families get out of poverty or to get up the economic curve. We work a tremendous amount with other agencies. I want to talk a little about our best friends with the the CED program is the businesses that we work with. We find businesses that also have the similar goals. They want to, first of all, they want to survive and thrive as a business, and they also want to have a broader impact in the community by helping residents get jobs and keep those jobs. And some of the partners we work with, we find partnering is we can't do everything for everybody, and we have other organizations that are much more capable at some of the things we hope to accomplish than we are. One of our best partners are the regional workforce councils. They have resources to help you identify the clients you're hoping to attract to these businesses. And they also have training dollars to help the business train the employees as they move up the skills curve and the pay curve. Last week I spent a half a day. One of our workforce councils changed leadership. The old guy retired, and the new young lady met me at one of our open clients, or we have an open OCS grant with, to talk about her, to familiarize her with the work that we do with her organization. East Kentucky Concentrated Employment Service is the name of it, and also to familiarize the businesses with the other resources that she can provide to his. He's got multiple locations in her footprint or in the service area. So the partnering that we do not only helps us initially with those clients, but it also is available to others. It familiarizes the business with those services and helps them to continue long after our OCS grant is repaid to continue to help individuals up the skill curve. How we use the CED money, we get to help families build pathways out of poverty. I mentioned the Workforce Council. They help us screen and attract the individuals that meet the criteria that we've targeted in our applications. And that's something that's difficult to do, is get someone that hasn't had a job, has no hope of a job, to become involved in the workforce. They provide recruiting services to help us meet the target employees and help the employers that we contract with. The employers, one of the things we're able to do to sort of leverage their participation with us or support their participation, the uses of the OCS money is flexible funds. They're not bank loans, they're flexible funds that we're able to lend to businesses for working capital. We generally price ours below the market, and we can structure them, when the payments kick in, if they're doing a training project and need to delay the start of the payments until the employees get up the curve, then we can provide flexible financing that way. Sorry, I'm not used to talking this much. The job coaching is one of the things we contract with them. Getting them in the job is our goal, but keeping in the job is really important. And a job coach can work on, they're not doing the skills training that these 8 other organizations provide, but they're doing the one-on-one. They become a friend and partner of the new employee, someone they can discuss and help identify resources to help them address problems. As things like daycare is often an issue, transportation's an issue, and it's not the job. The boss is too hard on me. It's barriers that prevent them from returning to work each day. And if you can get them in a habit of daily attendance and really trying to take advantage of the training opportunities, then we can get that family on the path to prosperity. And that's what we're all here for. Uh, and we take part of the OCS funds and pay that workforce council to do that specialized job coaching with our employees. And the results are really heartwarming about some of the stories and things that are manageable, that you and I would see as quite manageable, oftentimes is not to them, and having a coach and someone to say, hey, here's some resources and let us help you stay employed, keep your job. And we've also, the OCS program is competitive. It's really, you've got to have a well thought out application and a business that's willing to participate with you and meet your goals. If you haven't been in the business and are looking for a business to work with, I'd suggest you not really go for the 800,000 maximum. Go for a smaller project where you can. It's easier to find someone that's going to employ 10 people than someone that's going to employ 50 to work with, and get you a couple of grant cycles doing smaller projects with more attainable goals. And then as you build experience and capacity, you can continue from that point. Want to take a break and let my partner Brooklyn give you some words of wisdom.
Okay, thank you, Jerry. So I'm going to take a little bit of a different approach than Jerry did. So I'm going to talk a little bit of best practices that we have learned as an organization over the years. I've been working with the OCS program since I started here about 16 years ago, and I feel like I've learned a lot of valuable tips as far as on how to handle the processes with the OCS program. As any process, it has involved trial and error. I believe what we've developed a system now that has worked well for us and for this program. I believe it is very important to find the right fit, maybe not just meeting the minimum OCS requirements, but actually finding a project that is a really good fit that's going to allow you to see success and hopefully the success of the future OCS program. So to help you remember some of the tips that I've learned over the years, I thought of some words that begin with the letter C. So the first one I'd like to start with is commitment. So whether you're doing an expansion project for a 3-year or for 3 years or a startup project for 5 years, it's important to find a project that is willing to partner with you for the long haul. Establish that commitment up front, because if the company is not willing to participate for the time that is required, it's probably not going to be a very suitable project for you. The next one I thought of was capacity. So we have found over the years that it's crucial to ensure that not only the implementers of the project are capable, but also the office staff that would be hiring and doing the reporting, sending you the information. So they need to have the capacity to fill the reporting requirements. So we've had projects over the years that have created a few jobs and some that have created hundreds, but all of them require significant amount of organization and understanding. The next I would say is create. So we as an organization created an employee survey to be completed by new employees hired for the project. So this helped us to determine the low income eligibility. Also, we created an employee tracking spreadsheet. So this has the details of information like the employee name, their start date, their end date, their retention, um, just everything that you would need to complete your PPR. So I also have samples of those surveys or tracking spreadsheets. So if anybody would ever be interested, I'd be glad to share those with you. The next I would say would be complete. So when you are hiring employees for the project, it is important to have the surveys we found as part of the onboarding new hire packets. And so when they complete those reports initially, then it ensures that you're not having to scramble when it comes reporting time, being like, oh goodness, we didn't get a survey filled out for this person, or oh goodness, they've already quit, you know. So that just helps with the onboarding process to do it then. The next I would say is connect. So when we close close in on a project, we like to set up an in-person or a virtual meeting with everyone who's going to be involved. We found that when we can put a face to a name, and when they can do that, vice versa, it just makes it more relatable. Like everyone can, feel like they know who they're talking with, and they'll feel more, I guess, inclined to meet the requirements as you have requested. And it's important to establish those guidelines, what you expect for them. Be willing to also be there to answer their questions and ensure them that, you're going to support them during this entire process. I would say continue. Once you have a system in place that works for you, continue to fine tune it, because adapt and make changes as you go. See what works, what doesn't. We've had to do that over the years. As with most things, this has been a learning process for us, and in time, you'll be able to find what works for you, and you'll be able to become successful in your own way. And then last, I would say, is consider. I think Steve spoke on this maybe earlier, but if you find yourself struggling with your project or how to complete the reporting requirements, consider reaching out to your OCS program specialist with questions or request technical assistance. They have always been more than willing to help us over the years, and we have appreciated their support so much. We just love this program, and we can't say enough about it. So anyway, those are my tips, and hopefully maybe you learned something.